Before history had a name, a river flowed through a vast and unforgiving desert. This was the Nile. Its waters were a ribbon of life in a land of death. Every year it swelled its banks, leaving behind a gift of rich, black silt. This soil was the foundation of everything to come. It was a promise whispered from the earth itself. A promise of grain, of life, of civilization. The people who gathered here were not just farmers. They were dreamers, builders, and believers. They looked at the sun, the river, and the stars, and saw not just nature, but divinity. Their world was a place where the line between the mortal and the immortal was beautifully, terrifyingly thin. In this land, gods walked among men. They were not distant figures in a far-off heaven. They were present in the rising sun, the flooding river, and the breath of the desert wind. Ra, the sun god, sailed his golden barge across the sky each day. Osiris, the god of the afterlife, promised eternity to those who lived a just life. This profound connection between the people and their gods would shape their destiny. It was the force that would drive them to achieve the impossible. They would build monuments that reached for the heavens, not just as tombs for kings, but as gateways to the stars. Long before the first pharaoh, small communities dotted the Nile. These were the first Egyptians, nomadic hunters and gatherers. But the climate was changing. The rains that fed the savanna began to fail, and the great expanse of green turned to endless waves of sand. This dramatic environmental shift forced the people towards the one place that still offered life, the Nile. They abandoned their nomadic ways and began to settle. Over thousands of years, these scattered settlements grew. Reed boats carried goods. Trade routes began to form. Slowly, two distinct lands emerged: Upper Egypt, the narrow river valley, and Lower Egypt, the marshy delta in the north. The ambition of the rulers of both kingdoms was to dominate the other. The stage was set for a monumental transformation. History and myth intertwine in a king named Narmer. He was a ruler from the south, from Upper Egypt. He marshaled his forces and campaigned northward to unify the two lands. This was the forging of a nation. The unification of Upper and Lower Egypt marked the dawn of the Pharaonic Age. It created the world's first nation-state. The Great Pyramids of the Old Kingdom did not appear out of nowhere. They were the culmination of a long architectural evolution that began with the mastaba. The revolutionary leap forward occurred during the reign of King Djoser. His brilliant architect Imhotep conceived of a radical new idea. Instead of a single mastaba, Imhotep decided to stack 6 of them on top of each other. The result was the world's first major stone building, a staircase to the heavens. The transition to the true smooth-sided pyramid took place under King Sneferu, who experimented with the form until his architects perfected the technique. Following the pioneering work of Sneferu, the stage was set. Here, his son Khufu, his grandson Khafra, and his great-grandson Menkaura created the iconic trio that has captivated the world for millennia. Perhaps the most enigmatic feature is the Great Sphinx. Carved from a single outcrop of bedrock, it is believed to represent Khafra, a guardian fusing human intelligence and animal strength. The workforce that built these monuments was not, as often believed, composed of slaves. It was a highly organized, rotating workforce of skilled Egyptian laborers, working for their god-king and for their country. The statistics of Khufu's Great Pyramid are staggering. It was constructed from an estimated 2.3 million blocks of stone, most weighing an average of 2.5 tons. How they achieved this remains a subject of intense debate. The most widely accepted theory is that they constructed enormous ramps to drag the stones into place. Inside, a series of passages leads to the king's chamber, designed to protect the pharaoh's sarcophagus for all eternity. The pyramid builders had aimed for eternity, and in a way, they achieved it, standing today as silent, powerful testaments to a time when kings were gods and humanity dared to build mountains. The Old Kingdom collapsed under the weight of climate change and internal division, plunging Egypt into a century of civil war. Out of the ashes, a new dynasty of kings arose from Thebes. Around 2040 BC, King Mentuhotep II defeated his rivals and ushered in the Middle Kingdom. These kings were pragmatists. The pharaoh was now shown less as a distant god and more as a weary, determined shepherd of his people. To secure Egypt's borders, the pharaohs built a chain of massive fortresses in Nubia, projecting Egyptian power deep into foreign lands. They also invested in ambitious engineering projects, like the Fayum irrigation scheme, which significantly increased the kingdom's agricultural output. This stability fostered a remarkable cultural flowering, often called the classical age of Egyptian literature, exploring morality, politics, and the human condition. Humiliated by foreign rule, a new dynasty of Theban princes adopted the military technology of their enemies and forged a new, hardened spirit. They embarked on an ambitious policy of imperial expansion, creating a military superpower that dominated the ancient world. The spoils of war flowed into Egypt in an endless stream, funding the most ambitious building program the world had ever seen. In the midst of this age of warriors, an extraordinary woman, Hatshepsut, declared herself pharaoh, focusing not on war, but on peace, trade, and architectural splendor. Into this golden age came a pharaoh who would shatter tradition. Akhenaten abandoned the old gods in favor of a single deity, the Aten, the disk of the sun. He moved his capital to a new city in the desert and instigated a radical artistic revolution. But his new religion was a personal obsession that could not survive without him. Upon Akhenaten's death, his young successor, Tutankhamun, restored the old gods. A minor king in his time, his fame rests on the 1922 discovery of his small, intact tomb. The tomb was packed with thousands of treasures, giving an unparalleled glimpse into the wealth and craftsmanship of the New Kingdom's golden age. The New Kingdom's final blaze of glory came with Ramses II. A master of propaganda and a tireless builder, his 67-year reign marked the zenith of pharaonic power. Far from the golden courts, the true heart of Egypt beat in the fields. The vast majority of the population were farmers, their lives linked to the river's timeless cycle. They lived in simple, practical homes built from Nile mud. The centerpiece was the hearth, where the family's meals were cooked and bread was baked daily. Skilled artisans worked with their hands to create the objects of beauty that filled the tombs and temples. Their creations were not merely decorative, they were functional in a magical and religious sense. Priests served the gods in the great temples. Their daily ritual was a crucial act of maintenance, ensuring the god remained happy and continued to uphold the order of the cosmos. The greatest breaks from daily toil were the religious festivals, moments when the whole community came together in a joyous atmosphere that connected them to their gods and to each other. The New Kingdom, weakened by constant warfare and internal divisions, slowly began its long decline. The age of Egyptian supremacy was over. The once absolute power of the pharaoh crumbled. The country fractured, leaving it vulnerable to a succession of foreign invaders: Libyans, Nubians, Assyrians, and Persians. The final chapter began with Alexander the Great. His successors, the Ptolemies, ruled as Greek kings, and the heart of the old civilization was slowly replaced. The end came with Cleopatra VII. After her defeat and suicide in 30 BC, Egypt was annexed by Rome, and 3,000 years of pharaonic history came to an end. For over 1,000 years, Egypt's history was shrouded in mystery, its language lost. The silence remained until the discovery of the Rosetta Stone, the key that allowed us to read the stones once more. The legacy of this incredible civilization is a story written in stone. These monuments stand as enduring testaments to ambition, faith, and organizational genius. The world they created has vanished, but its echoes are all around us, a foundational chapter in the epic of human civilization. If you wish to continue this journey with us, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more plunges into the past.